These are all the major changes coming in patch 12.1. For a full breakdown and to hear the developers' reasons behind these changes, check out Riot Mort's rundown video. That video will be linked in the description. Jumping right into the major changes, we have some tweaks to some of the crests and heart augments. Protector Heart and Mutant Crest have had their unit removed as they were too dominant of an augment. Riot Mort has stated that there is likely a lot more to do with balancing these augments, so expect to see some more changes in the future. The Chemtech trait got a minor rework in patch 11.24, and in 12.1 it is getting some changes with the end result of a buff to Chemtech 7 and 9. Chemtech's damage reduction is decreasing to 20%, and attack speed is decreasing at Chemtech 3. Health regen is increasing at 5, 7, and 9, and attack speed is increasing at 7 and 9. Imperial has been an underperforming trait for all of set 6 so far, and it received a buff last patch. This buff was not enough, and Imperial really only works in niche situations still. With this buff, Riot hopes to help Imperial gain a little more traction. In 11.24, Innovator received a well-deserved nerf, but Innovator 5 is still a little weaker than needed right now. To help with this, the Mechanical Bearer is receiving some health and armor and MR buffs. Socialite flex comps are absolutely dominating the meta right now, and it makes sense to see some of these nerfs now. Specifically, we are seeing a nerf to Socialite 2, which reduces the mana per second down to 3 from 5. Galio is ulting 2 to 3 times per fight, which is slightly overtuned. Syndicate 7 is getting buffed back up to 50% increase in power, which seems like a large number, but this actually only results in about 10 armor and MR and 3% Omnivamp, so it is a relatively small change. Yordle spawn odds are getting adjusted here to hinder some of the Yordle farming builds that just use it as a source of early game econ. The chance of spawning 1-cost units is increasing to 70%, while the chance of 2 and 3-cost Yordles are both decreasing. This will hinder the early game of the Yordle build, but to make up for it, 6 Yordle is receiving a buff by increasing its mana reduction for ults to 25% from 20%, effectively resulting in all Yordles getting their ults off more frequently. Continuing with Riot's attempts to buff Imperials, Swain is receiving some buffs in this patch. To compensate for the hit to Socialite 2, Seraphine is getting a slight buff to her mana, as well as some additional spell damage at every level. Heimerdinger is receiving a large buff here, with a range increase up to 4 tiles from 3. This will make him a more reliable carry for Yordle and Innovator comps, and this is exactly what Riot had intended him to be. Malzahar is getting adjusted here, with a small decrease at level 1 and a buff at level 3 to help him be a stronger late game unit. Urgot has been an incredibly dominant carry this patch with the proper items, so these changes only look to nerf his interactions with Hurricane, Static Shiv, and Gwynceus. AD Galio was nerfed once before, but in the current meta he is still superbly strong, so he's getting pushed down even more toward being a tank, with his slam bonus being turned down at every level. Kai'Sa is the strongest unit right now, followed closely by Tahm Kench, and they are both getting nerfed here to bring them closer in line with the rest of the 5-cost units. With this nerf though, Tahm Kench is getting a 20x stat multiplier for units he eats at level 3, which will result in some massive stat bonuses, should you manage to get a 3-star Tahm early. Guardian's Angel is being built on basically every carry at the moment. It is far too strong, so it is receiving some health on revival decreases. This shouldn't ruin the item, as the main benefits of GA come from the loss of aggro that the unit has when reviving. Melonomicon is getting nerfed here also, and an argument could be made that these are also nerfs to Sunfire Cape as well. These changes to Sunfire Cape will lower its damage early game, but increase it late game as fights run longer. 2 other items getting buffed here are Rapid Fire Cannon and ZZ Rot Portal. The changes to ZZ Rot are to help it scale better into the late game. Stand United is a bit too powerful early game, so it is getting some nerfs to 1 and 2, while Stand United 3, according to the data, is in a good place right now. Ascension is the most frequently picked augment, as well as the quickest picked augment, and is in big need of a nerf, so it is being brought down to 50% bonus damage. This is likely a bit of an over nerf here, but we'll have to wait and see what the data says about this change. I would expect some small backtracking on this one in the near future. Makeshift Armor 1, 2, and 3 are getting buffed as well, as a buff to Ardent Sensor, putting it up to 50% bonus attack speed. In the super dominant Socialite meta this patch, it only makes sense that the Duet receives a nerf here. In 11.24, the 500 bonus health was added to the second spotlighted unit, and this proved to be a little too much. These changes will bring the bonus down slightly to 400 HP. Sunfire Board is the other augment getting nerfed here, and this is just to bring it in line with the changes to Sunfire and Melonomicon. Spellblade was also reworked in 11.24, and is getting some more buffs here to help it get included in more builds. Lastly, Woodland Charm is getting a small bump to the clone HP, up to 1600 from 1500. The only real change to traits here is a small buff to mutants, but specifically to Metamorphosis. The AD and AP is getting buffed from 1 and 2 to 2 and 4. Those are all the major changes in patch 12.1. Linked in the description is the full patch notes if you want to take a deeper dive. If you stuck around this long, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out immensely. I hope this was helpful, and as always, thanks for watching.